2017, in the vibrant city of Metropolis, a young and aspiring artist named Alex was on the hunt for a studio space to fuel their passion for creativity. Determined to find an affordable space, they turned to the ever-reliable Craigslist app, hoping to stumble upon a hidden gem. Little did they know that this innocent quest would lead them down a perilous path, teeming with danger and unforeseen circumstances. One fateful day, while scrolling through the listings, Alex's eyes landed on an ad that seemed too good to be true. It claimed to offer a well-equipped studio at a remarkably low price, nestled in a secluded corner of the city. Ignoring their better judgment, the young artist couldn't resist the allure and decided to contact the landlord, hoping to secure the space for their creative endeavors. The next morning, Alex received a response from the landlord, a person named Morgan. Morgan seemed friendly and accommodating in their brief email exchange, assuring Alex that the studio was still available and inviting them to visit it in person. Excitement tingled through Alex's veins as they hastily agreed to the meeting, blissfully unaware of the sinister intentions lurking beneath Morgan's facade. Unbeknownst to Alex, Morgan was a dangerous criminal who had devised a wicked scheme to prey upon unsuspecting victims. The studio they advertised was nothing more than a sinister trap designed to ensnare their targets and extort money from them. With a diabolical plan already set into motion, Morgan eagerly awaited Alex's arrival at the appointed location, hidden away from prying eyes. And so, in the heart of Metropolis in the year 2018, Alex found themselves standing before an unremarkable building, its faded sign bearing the words, "The Creativity Haven Studios." Filled with anticipation, Alex entered the dimly lit hallway and followed a narrow staircase that led them to the basement, where the studio awaited their arrival. As they stepped inside, Alex's excitement quickly transformed into trepidation. The door slammed shut behind them with a resounding thud, trapping them in an unfamiliar and claustrophobic space. Panic welled up within Alex as they frantically tried to open the door, only to discover that it had been securely locked from the outside. Realization washed over them like an icy wave as they comprehended the gravity of their situation. They had fallen into Morgan's trap. Fear gripped Alex's heart as they pounded on the door, desperately hoping for someone to hear their cries for help. But the sound of their pleas seemed to dissipate into the cold, lifeless air, swallowed by the depths of the abandoned studio. It became painfully clear that their only companion in this dark and forbidding place was their own growing despair. Days turned into nights, and the passage of time blurred within the confinements of the studio walls. Alex's mind became a battleground between fear and determination. They refused to succumb to Morgan's malevolent game, vowing to find a way out and reclaim their freedom. With each passing moment, they searched for any potential means of escape, meticulously examining every nook and cranny, desperate for a glimmer of hope. Meanwhile, a dedicated detective named Taylor had been tirelessly investigating a string of similar disappearances. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, they sensed a connection to Morgan's nefarious activities. Determined to save Alex and put an end to Morgan's reign of terror, Taylor delved deeper into the shadows, following a trail fraught with danger and deception. Days turned into weeks, and the race against time intensified. The music that echoed through the studio walls reached Taylor's ears, becoming a haunting beacon guiding them closer to Alex's location. With unwavering determination, they gathered a team of skilled officers, prepared to confront the criminal and liberate their captive. In a final, climactic showdown, Taylor and their team stormed the dilapidated studio, their presence shattering the oppressive silence that had plagued Alex for far too long. The resounding clash between good and evil reverberated through the air as chaos erupted within the confines of the once captive space. As the dust settled, Alex emerged from the darkness, their spirit unbroken despite the harrowing ordeal they had endured. In their eyes, a newfound appreciation for life mingled with a steely determination to continue pursuing their artistic dreams. The young artist had emerged from the crucible of captivity, forever changed but unbowed. Together, Alex and Taylor ensured that justice was served. Morgan's reign of terror came to an abrupt end as they were apprehended and faced the full weight of the law. The city, once tainted by their malevolence, breathed a collective sigh of relief, knowing that its streets were a little safer now. In the aftermath of their traumatic experience, Alex's story resonated with people around the world. Their indomitable spirit and unwavering love for art inspired countless individuals, reminding them of the power of resilience in the face of adversity. Through their art, Alex found catharsis, healing the wounds inflicted upon their soul by the clutches of a deranged criminal. And so, the echoes of Alex's journey lingered, a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the transformative power of art. In the years to come, they would continue to share their story, using their experiences to uplift others and spread a message of hope. From the depths of captivity, they had emerged as a beacon of resilience, forever marked by their fateful encounter, but not defined by. In the year 2020, at a small town in Ohio, a young guy named Jake was looking for some antique furniture to decorate his new apartment. He had always loved vintage style and wanted to find something unique and cheap. He browsed through Craigslist and saw an ad for a set of wooden chairs, a table, and a cabinet that looked perfect for his living room. The ad said that the seller was moving out and needed to get rid of them as soon as possible. The price was only $200 for everything. Jake contacted the seller, who introduced himself as Frank, and asked if he could see the items before buying them. Frank agreed and gave him his address, which was about an hour away from Jake's place. He said that he would be home all day and that Jake could come anytime. Jake was excited and decided to go right away. He grabbed his wallet, keys, and phone and drove to Frank's house. When he arrived, he saw that Frank's house was a rundown old cottage in the middle of nowhere. There were no neighbors around, and the place looked abandoned. Jake felt a bit uneasy, but he shrugged it off and knocked on the door. Frank opened it and greeted him with a smile. "Hey, you must be Jake. I'm Frank. Come on in, I'll show you the furniture." Frank led Jake inside the house, which was dark and dusty. There were piles of junk everywhere, and the air smelled musty. Jake wondered how anyone could live in such a mess. "So, where's the furniture?" Jake asked. "Oh, it's in the basement. Follow me." Frank walked towards a door at the end of the hallway and opened it. He gestured for Jake to go downstairs. "It's a bit dark down there, but don't worry, I had a flashlight." Jake hesitated for a moment, but then followed Frank down the stairs. He hoped that the furniture would be worth this trouble. As soon as they reached the bottom of the stairs, Frank slammed the door behind them and locked it. He turned on the flashlight and pointed it at Jake's face. "Surprise," he said with a sinister grin. Jake blinked and felt a surge of fear. He realized that he had walked into a trap. "What are you doing? Let me out," Jake shouted. "Sorry, buddy, but you're not going anywhere. You see, I'm not really selling any furniture. I'm actually looking for some easy money." And he just made my day. Frank pulled out a knife from his pocket and waved it in front of Jake's face. "You're going to call your family or your friends or whoever you have and tell them that you need $10,000 by tomorrow, or else something terrible will happen to you," Frank threatened. Jake's heart was racing, and he knew he had to think fast. He pretended to comply, pulling out his phone and making a call, but instead of calling his family or friends, he dialed 911. He kept the phone hidden from Frank's view as he spoke to the operator, trying to keep his voice steady. 911, what's your emergency?" the operator asked. "I'm in a dangerous situation. I've been lured into a house by a criminal, and he's holding me captive. Please send help," Jake whispered urgently. The operator assured him that help was on the way, and they would track his location through the call. Meanwhile, Jake continued to act as if he was talking to his family, giving Frank the illusion that he was cooperating. "Now tell them to hurry up, or you'll regret it," Frank said, growing impatient. They said they need some time to gather the money. Jake lied, hoping to stall for as long as possible. As minutes passed, Jake could hear sirens getting closer, and he knew that the police were nearing the house. He needed to keep Frank distracted until they arrived. Trying to buy more time, he asked, "Can I at least sit down while I wait?" Frank hesitated but allowed Jake to sit on a dusty old chair nearby. Jake pretended to be anxious and uneasy, hoping that Frank would let his guard down. As he waited for the police, he tried to engage Frank in conversation, subtly trying to understand his motives and distract him further. "Why are you doing this?" Jake asked, trying to keep his voice calm. "I've got debts to pay, and this seemed like an easy way to get some cash," Frank replied, his eyes darting around the room nervously. As the conversation continued, the police finally arrived outside the house. They had tracked Jake's location through the 911 call, and they were prepared for a potentially dangerous situation. Suddenly, Frank's attention shifted as he heard the sirens too. Realizing that Jake might have been stalling and that help was on the way, he grew agitated and started pacing back and forth. The police announced their presence, shouting through a megaphone, "This is the police. Release the hostage and come out with your hands up." Frank seemed to panic, unsure of his next move. He knew that his options were limited, and with the police surrounding the house, he had little chance of escaping. He looked at Jake, who maintained eye contact, silently urging him to surrender peacefully. Finally, Frank put down the knife and opened the basement door, raising his hands in surrender. The police swiftly apprehended him and brought him into custody. Jake was relieved to be safe and grateful for the quick response from the authorities. The experience had taught him a valuable lesson about being cautious when dealing with strangers online and the importance of trusting his instincts. As the dust settled, Jake thanked the police officers who had come to his rescue. He vowed never to forget this harrowing encounter, and it would forever remind him to be vigilant and cautious. In 2014, in a charming town in Iowa, Ben was a budding musician struggling to make ends meet. Although deeply attached to his cherished guitar, Ben decided to sell it on an online platform called Craigslist. Placing an advertisement, Ben patiently awaited a potential buyer to reach out. A few days later, a message arrived from a person named Chris expressing interest in purchasing the guitar. Ben agreed to meet Chris at a nearby lakeside park to complete the transaction, secretly hoping that Chris would turn out to be a kindred spirit who appreciated music. Upon arriving at the park, Ben spotted Chris seated on a bench. Clad in a denim jacket and sporting sunglasses, Chris exuded an air of cool confidence. Ben approached him and initiated a friendly greeting, asking, "Hi, are you Chris?" Chris responded affirmatively, extending a hand in a handshake. "Yeah, that's me. And you must be Ben." "Nice to meet you," he said. "Pleasure to meet you too. So here's the guitar," Ben replied, showcasing the instrument. "It looks fantastic. Mind if I give it a try?" Chris inquired. "Of course. Go ahead," Ben consented, offering the guitar to Chris. Chris skillfully plucked the strings, displaying his musical prowess. He played a few chords and riffs, wearing a smile of approval. "It's a good guitar. Sounds great. How long have you had it?" Chris inquired. "I've owned it for about 2 years. A friend gave it to me as a gift. They're a musician as well," Ben shared. "Really? That's awesome. What genre of music do you play?" Chris asked. "I mostly play rock and blues. I'm part of a band with a few friends, and we occasionally perform at local bars and clubs," Ben revealed. "That's fantastic. I love rock and blues too. I actually play the drums," Chris said. "Wow, that's really cool. Perhaps we could jam together sometime," Ben suggested. "Yeah, maybe," Chris responded. Engaging in conversation, they exchanged tales and opinions about music. Ben felt content and at ease, believing he had met a genuinely pleasant person who might even become a friend. Days turned into weeks, and Ben couldn't help but feel grateful for the wonderful instrument that had once again become his muse. He continued to pursue his passion for music, sharing his talents with the community through performances and online platforms. The incident with a potential buyer had left him cautious, but he refused to let fear deter him from connecting with others who shared his love for music. As time passed, Ben's music began to gain attention beyond the quaint town in Iowa. His dedication to his craft and resilience in the face of adversity led him to form meaningful connections with fellow musicians and fans alike. Through his heartfelt lyrics and soulful melodies, Ben found solace and a sense of purpose, knowing that his music had the power to touch the lives of others. While the encounter with Chris had been a harrowing experience, Ben chose to focus on the positive aspects of his journey. He recognized that it was crucial to remain cautious and discerning in his interactions with others, but refused to let one negative encounter define his musical pursuits. Instead, he used his story to raise awareness about online safety, reminding fellow musicians and artists to exercise caution when engaging with potential buyers or collaborators. In the years that followed, Ben's music continued to flourish, and he became inspiration to many aspiring musicians. His determination to pursue his dreams and create heartfelt music resonated with people from all walks of life. Through his songs, he conveyed a message of hope, resilience, and the importance of remaining true to one's passion, no matter the challenges faced along the way.